A boy named Kim Isaac desperately wants to live. He's been diagnosed with a rare disease that doctors have never seen before. Maybe they'll name it after him. Isaac receives a terrible diagnosis. He has no more than 6 months to live. He stands in the middle of a crosswalk, clutching the paper with the test results in his hands. People push him, but he doesn't move. He thinks, this can't be how it ends. Isaac remembers that he has worked like an ant all his life, and only now things are starting to get better. The traffic light is red, and the cars are honking, but he's still standing in the road. Someone pushes him, and he falls to his knees. He screams that it's not fair. He only has a few months to live, and this is on the day he hit the jackpot in the lottery. He is willing to do anything to survive. He cries, clutching the lottery ticket, and begs someone to save him from death. But he clearly didn't expect to be literally turned into a skeleton. Of all the possible reincarnation options, he became a bald skeleton who can't even enjoy the simplest pleasures of life. Suddenly, he is attacked by monsters. He grabs his sword, chops them to pieces, and says he must destroy them all. Blood drips from his blade, but then he hears loud footsteps. It's a huge monster pulling a paw towards him. Isaac jumps up, dodges, looks down at the monster and smirks. He yells, "Die!" and chops off its head with one blow. He stands in a superhero pose and says that was the last enemy. He is now free. After reincarnating into a skeleton, the lowest class of summoned monsters, he evolved into an undead healer, saved the demons from destruction, and became a great demon king. Admittedly, they still call him Isaac instead of Isaac, even though he's corrected them 100 times. But now, he's saying goodbye to these idiots. They ask him where he's going. He answers that he wants to get what he deserves, to become human again, to eat, feel pain, and do what he wants. The scene shifts to a brightly colored place, the exact opposite of where he was. The monster's head falls to the floor. The gods look alarmed, but Isaac smiles. We see the divine world. The gods sit on their thrones. Isaac says he has dealt with all those who defied the gods and reminds them of their promise. According to the treaty, they must turn him back into a human. The gods begin to whisper. They thought it would take him at least 500 years and wondered what kind of monster they were looking at. It was all a cunning plan. The gods wanted to make him work for them for free. Isaac hears this and asks why they're stalling. They promised to make him human if he did their task, and he did everything they asked. One of the gods offers him another task. Isaac is angry. Do they think he's an empty-headed skeleton? He asks if they think he's a simpleton, and declares that he'll get what's coming to him even if he has to fight the gods. He shouts, "You made me do all this even though you didn't even have a way to turn me into a human?" The gods admit that he's right, which is why they were against the idea all along. Isaac is furious. Is that all you have to say? He reminds them that he was summoned using forbidden magic, so he is outside the laws of nature. He is immortal, cannot die of old age, and his powers make him a threat even to the divine world. If the gods can't keep their promise, he doesn't need them anymore. They beg for more time, but Isaac says they've already broken the pact, and now they'll have to pay with their lives. He starts laughing as he charges the spiritual bomb. His aura rages, and a purple ball of energy forms over his hands. The gods scream, but suddenly the energy disappears. Isaac can't move. One of the gods explains that it's a spell called Calamity Banishment, the highest level of holy magic that can immobilize even someone like him. The gods scoff, "You should be grateful that we let you serve us. How dare a demon defy us? Now you will live like a bug." Isaac jokes, "They could have at least made me a fluffy caterpillar." The god asks why he's so obsessed with hair and calls him a lowly creature. At this point, the bug in the god's hand begins to glow. Isaac laughs. "You should have acted faster and not revealed your cards." Isaac decides he'd rather blow himself up than become a puppet of the gods again. The gods yell for him to stop, but he replies, "Go to hell, you idiots," and explodes right in the middle of the room. The explosion is accompanied by a bright rainbow aura that can be seen even from outside their huge tower. None of the gods seem to have died, but they are shocked. Has he gone completely insane? They think their spell worked, and he turned into a bug. One of the gods comes closer and says that Isaac's soul is indeed sealed. Now that the demon king is gone, the gods can regain their powers. Every time a demon dies, they grow stronger, but it's too early to relax. No one knows when a new threat will appear. The gods decide to create a perfect saint in the human world and destroy all the demons. One of the gods asks the other if everything is all right, since it will take a lot of effort. He replies that there is no need to worry, and asks them to choose a suitable soul for the saint's body. As for the demon king, he will be tormented like a bug forever. Meanwhile, we hear Isaac's thoughts. "I must have lost my mind. Is it really true? Maybe I became stupid because I was a brainless skeleton, but why is it so bright in here? He tries to cover his eyes with his hands, but notices that they are short and thick like sausages. He realizes it's a human body. Has his wish come true? Perhaps the gods messed up the spell. At that moment, the nurses notice that he has opened his eyes, and they call him Saint. They say he has awakened from his sleep, and one of them adds, "I wish he had slept further." Isaac thinks, "Are these my babysitters? Have I really become human?" One of the nurses says it can't be helped. Since he's not feeling well, they have to do their job. They suggest he go back to sleep, this time for good. Isaac notices that they are holding a bottle of poison. He panics. "Wait, I just died. Do I have to die again?" The nurse apologizes and brings the bottle to his lips. Isaac turns away to the left, then to the right, and then raises his hand to stop her. The nurse wonders, "Why aren't you drinking?" Isaac yells, "Are you kidding me? I'm finally a human being. I'm not drinking anything suspicious." He wonders how he ever became human in the first place. The nurses insist, "Please eat as a baby should, and sleep the eternal sleep." They call him Sir Isaac. Isaac is surprised. "Did you just call me Isaac?" The nurse explains that it's a different pronunciation of his name. Perhaps when the gods used the Banish Calamity spell, they wrote Isaac instead of Isaac. That's why he wasn't sealed and reborn into a new body with the same name. Isaac starts laughing. "You thought you had won, but you couldn't destroy me." At this point, one of the babysitters puts a bottle in his mouth. Isaac realizes, this is bad. He starts shaking, and the nannies wonder why the toddler is so strong. He's thinking, "Is that vegetable juice? It tastes like shit. Am I going to die having just become human?" His vision becomes blurry, and he feels something sinister entering his body. The action takes place in the sacred empire of Hellas, in the Central Eastern Temple. We see a man walking around with a sinister smile, saying that the infant must die at any moment. Someone notices that the bishop is in a good mood today. Then the emperor of the Holy Empire, Alexander Heathcliff Hella, appears. The bishop greets him, and Alexander asks why he is here. The bishop replies that he has come to greet a saint. Alexander says, "You make it sound like it's an obligation, but won't there be a problem if something goes wrong like the last time a candidate for sainthood was killed?" Suddenly, there is a scream. Alexander is worried, and the bishop begins to smirk. Everyone runs into the room, asking what is happening to the young gentleman. One of the nannies says, "It's unbelievable." Alexander fears the worst, but she adds, "He's so cute. Look at his chubby tummy. He's like a little angel." The bishop is shocked. "That's impossible. He's still alive after so much poison." Turns out, it's not just vegetable juice. We see a flashback. Moments ago, Isaac felt something sinister entering his body. Now he realizes it was the sacred poison. This poison destroys the sacred power of the clergy. It does not act immediately, but becomes deadly if it accumulates in the body. However, the poison is made from demon mana, and for a former demon king, it's just perfect. Isaac thinks, "Giving something made of mana to a demon like me is just great. I'll eat it all and consider it baby food." He starts screaming, in baby language, of course, "Goo goo gaga gaga," demanding more bottles. The babysitters say they are beginning to understand him. One of them remarks that the poison, or rather vegetable juice, won't work right away. Isaac gives a thumbs up in approval. "It's going great. Mana absorption. Whoever came up with that is pretty cool. Now I know what to do next." Isaac closes his eyes and says that he needs to enter the world beyond consciousness, the so-called unconscious world. In the very depths of this world, at its source, he will create himself a monochorous nucleus. He lands and says that it is safe here, and now he can concentrate. A ball of energy appears in his hands. He explains that it is necessary to put the absorbed mana into the core. This is necessary in order to use magic in the future. But suddenly, he is confronted with an explosion of mana. Isaac is surprised. "What is that? The mana core should be one of the 3 primary colors, but mine is white for some reason. Although color isn't the main thing, how can there be so much power in such a small, undeveloped core?" He smirks. "That exceeded my expectations." Reaching through the aura to the core, he asks, "How many blessings were put into this body? If I grow this well, I can become an even more powerful monster than I was in my last life." He writes the word Isaac on his core, and underneath it, survive. He says it's his strongest wish. All he wanted was to survive. Both of those spells are inherited in this body. Even as a former demon king, he uses it to the best of his ability. The nannies are worried if he's dead. One of them checks on him and Isaac puts his finger up. They are relieved and say, "He's still alive. From now on, I'll call him Isaac." Isaac starts babbling. "Goo goo 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 goo." Of course he asks for more bottles, but this time stronger. We're coming back to the present. Alexander says it's a relief. Nothing bad happened. Isaac thinks, "Even though I almost got killed, it feels good." He looks at the bishop, who looks terribly frightened. Isaac wonders, why does he look like that? Maybe I ate too much? To avoid arousing suspicion, Isaac simply smiles at the bishop. The bishop panics. What the hell? He's supposed to be dying, bleeding to death, and he's sitting there laughing at me. The bishop is angry, but still a little scared. A few days ago, at the headquarters of the Holy Church, we see a man saying, "He who becomes a saint will rule the empire." This is an absolute joke. That's why everyone declares their children to be saints. The bishop reassures him, "Don't worry, we'll deal with the other candidates for sainthood." The man replies, "Okay, but I heard an unpleasant rumor. A candidate for sainthood has shown up at Eshu's house. He nearly breaks his glass." The man continues, "This is bad. House Eshu is the emperor's right-hand man. The bishop says there is nothing they can do about it." The man throws the bowl to the floor in rage. "He's probably dead by now. Just check the corpse. I acted first to make sure he was dead. A saint can only be from my house, Barrett." We meet a cardinal named Harry Barrett. The bishop says, "I was told the baby was going to die. Why is he still alive? It can't go on like this." Alexander says, "That's interesting. Your shiny platinum hair is a true icon. The founder of the Holy Empire had the same hair color." Isaac looks at him and realizes it's the emperor. Alexander adds, "You look closer to God than the current pope. You must be the last candidate for sainthood." Isaac is surprised. This baby is a candidate for sainthood? No wonder they kept calling me a saint. The bishop realizes that the emperor is beginning to sympathize with the child, and that cannot be allowed to happen. He says, "I want to examine the child." Alexander asks, "Why?" The bishop replies, "Something is wrong. A baby couldn't drink all that vegetable juice." Alexander parries, "What's strange about a candidate for sainthood eating monk food?" Isaac despairs. How did a demon king become a candidate for sainthood? Alexander says that the process can only continue after someone from House Eshu arrives. At this point, Isaac regurgitates demonic energy. He realizes he has made a mistake and looks at the bishop thinking, did he understand? The bishop comes closer and says, "I felt a demonic energy from this child. It's weird." Isaac thinks, that creep noticed everything. Bishop continues, "This child could be a fake candidate using mana. We need to investigate immediately." Alexander is outraged. "How dare you? This is a candidate for sainthood." The bishop replies, "Don't worry. The Pope has already chosen a saint from the house of Barrett." Alexander says, "He chose someone from his own house? That's shameless." Isaac now understands why they want him out. The bishop takes him in his arms and says, "I will summon a priest and an inquisitor." Alexander stops him. "Wait. The house of Eshu is the closest ally of the imperial family. I suggest we reconsider the decision later." The bishop replies, "I understand, but the Pope has already said that the investiture ceremony of the heir to the throne will take place only after the choice of a saint." Isaac clutches the bottle. Bishop says, "If he's human, he'll get nothing. If a demon, he will be destroyed." But then Isaac hits him in the face with the bottle so hard that Bishop's tooth comes out. Isaac sits up with a sinister grin and babbles, "You arrogant bastard, I'll play your game." The bishop is shocked. How can a simple bottle be so powerful? The others say, "This light is holy power. It is truly holy." Bishop admits that he can feel the holy power, but it's too unusual. Isaac charges the bottle again and hits the bishop again, thinking, "What are you going to do now?" He continues to beat the bishop, and the latter shouts, "It's definitely mana." Alexander looks pleased. Isaac amplifies the bottle with magic and delivers the final blow, pretending to be an innocent baby. The bishop falls to his knees, and everyone around him says that he is marveling at the holy power. Isaac thinks, "What is this feeling? Every time I use mana, I feel weak holy power. The two are incompatible, but maybe it has to do with my white mana core." The bishop grabs the bottle, stopping Isaac, and throws it to the floor. He swears that the child is a heretic and demands that the sacred art of exorcism be used. Isaac thinks, how sneaky. I didn't plan on going this far, but oh well. He reaches into the bishop's clothes and pulls something out. It turns out to be a demon hand, a totem, an artifact that harnesses the power of demons. Bishop panics. "How did you know about this totem?" Isaac smiles sinisterly. He throws his hand to the floor and it begins to release demonic energy. Isaac says, "Look closely. These are the consequences of your actions." He snaps his fingers and a demonic monster forms from his hand. Everyone screams. Isaac utters, "Parry it, you pathetic amateur." Alexander yells at the bishop, "What the hell are you doing? How could you release a demon in the temple? Are you out of your mind?" The bishop excuses himself. "Didn't you see? It was the baby that activated the totem." Alexander replies, "The totem is just an object for sealing demons. How did it come to life? He orders everyone to protect the young lord from the demon and the bishop. The knights shout, "Yes, sir," and snatch Isaac from the bishop's grasp. The bishop is confused. How is that possible? Isaac laughs. The joke's on you. He wonders what this bishop is capable of. The knights raise their swords against the demon, who repeats, "I must kill a saint." The demon flies straight at Isaac, and the knights rush to his defense. Isaac is puzzled. I saved its life. Why is it attacking me? He thinks the paladins can easily handle the demon, but one of them falls instantly. Isaac wonders, is that even a paladin? The demon continues, I will kill the saint and rescue the captive king. Isaac decides he needs to subdue the demon. In all the commotion, no one will notice him using magic. As the demon approaches, Isaac thinks, why does everyone in this life want to kill me? I brought that demon to life. His eyes begin to glow red, and he lets out a murderous aura. You stupid demon. Don't you recognize your leader? The demon immediately understands. Skeleton King, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. At this moment, Isaac begins to emit a golden aura, blinding everyone. The demon tries to defend himself, but starts to fall apart. He screams and flies out of the room. The knights shout, the demon is fleeing. It's definitely a holy power. The young master has banished the great demon. They laugh. Even at this age, he's awesome. Isaac looks at his hands. What was that? That's real holy power. How am I going to use it? He realizes he is out of mana, and his body turns mana into holy power. He thinks, how am I going to accumulate mana if the Holy Empire is already low on mana? The bishop shouts, let him go, you fools. This infant is a heretic using the power of demons. How dare he infiltrate the Holy Empire? He begs to prove it with an exorcism. Alexander stops him. Enough. You are accusing a candidate for sainthood. You unleashed a great demon in front of the Imperial Knights, and I will not let that be ignored, even if you are from the Holy Church. The bishop replies, if the Emperor doubts, sooner or later the truth will come out. If that happens, the Holy Church will be in danger. Even if he has to die to redeem himself, he must save his family. So at the very least, he must kill the candidate saint from the house of Eshu. The latter summons some divine creature through a huge magic circle. The monster breaks loose and rushes towards Isaac. Isaac only sighs, finally showing his true colors. He doubts that the creature will actually be able to kill him, but the moment the creature bounces off the ground, he realizes he has no more mana. Suddenly, a blue punch flies in from the side, precisely at the monster's throat. Someone says sharply, how dare they raise their hand against the direct heir of House Eshu? Everyone immediately realizes, these are the Knights of Eshu, the Blue Faith Warriors. Reincarnation, the seventh son of House Eshu, stands before them. He immediately orders the execution of the bishop. Isaac looks at him, repeating the name Eshu to himself. It was familiar to him. Reincarnation orders a show of respect, and all the knights bow to Isaac and Eshu, greeting them. He then apologizes to Isaac for being late. He sarcastically replies that they are perhaps even better than the Imperial Knights. Reincarnation smiles. It's not much, but we have a gift for you. Isaac expects gold or something of value, but instead he is handed a figurine of a demon being beheaded. Reincarnation looks incredibly pleased, but Isaac is just shocked. They turned him into a toy. What's more, they have a figure of a skeleton king burning alive, and another of a saint crushing a demon. Why is it so huge? Isaac asks in confusion. The knights praise his reaction, and he is in utter despair. With tears in his eyes, he thinks, how can I live among these crazy people if they all hate me? Isaac repeats the name Eshu again, and finally remembers. This is the same generation of saints who tried to destroy him. All the saints who came to fight him, the 45th, 64th, 61st, and so on, they all carried the surname Eshu, and now he realizes that he is not just a candidate for sainthood. He is of the most holy kind. Isaac sighs heavily. What sins did I commit in my past life to deserve all this? The bishop suddenly breaks down into a shout, all because of those damn Eshuans. One of the knights tells him to calm down, but he continues. I always knew they were heretics. Where did they find this monster? I will find out its true nature. Reincarnation, without a word, grips the hilt of his sword. The bishop continues to shout, swearing that he will destroy this bloody race. The next moment, his throat is slit. He falls to his knees, choking on blood. Reincarnation coldly utters, be grateful for the mercy of Eshu. Your head remains on your shoulders, even after all this nonsense. Isaac looks at him and says, you killed him just because he insulted your family. So you really believe you can stand up to the Holy Church? The knights surround Isaac, trying to comfort him. You had to see such cruelty. But don't think about the bad, rather look only at the good. Isaac only shakes his head. You're all crazy. But now he remembers another important thing. The blue faith had always been strong. His own subordinates were terrified at the mere sight of men in blue armor. As they dutifully tear up the demon figurines, Isaac desperately asks them to stop. He regrets that he didn't take his boy's warnings seriously in his past life. Alexander, observing this, says that he seems to have a debt to this child. He then asks Rely if he wants to tell the head of his house that the imperial palace intends to raise the boy. Rely sneers, saying it's too cruel a joke. But Isaac, hearing this, rejoices. They want to recruit him. Alexander continues, the Holy Empire doesn't want this child to live. They will persecute him from within and without. You understand that. He admits that Eshu is strong, but isn't sure if the blue faith of today can protect the boy. Rely looks annoyed, and Isaac at this point is thinking what an interesting tea Alexander has. Alexander adds, the Pope would especially disapprove of his existence. The color of his hair is a symbol of the ancestors of the Holy Empire. And to top it all off, he's being hunted by the Demon King himself. Isaac blinks. Wait, but it's me. How can I hunt myself? Rely apologizes, but explains that the child is of Eshu blood, and they are obligated to raise him themselves. He continues, the Demon King was ruthless, and never lost to any saint or holy one. He never killed them, but the last holiest he fought, Melissa, was incredibly powerful. And now this boy is her direct descendant, a candidate for sainthood, born into a family of saints. Why does he have such a life? Isaac listens and is only more perplexed. If anyone doesn't know what Sanus is, it's a weapon that the gods created because they were losing to the Demon King time after time. They wanted to win so badly that they put all their power into it. Sanus is a holy mace sent by the gods to exterminate evil, a lion on the battlefield wielding the sacred light, the supreme knight of the Holy Empire. Because of the terrifying power of the holiest, people believe that the Skeleton King had seen his last days. The holiest possess an attack and defense close to divine. They are as tenacious as cockroaches and live incredibly long lives, and that's only part of their abilities. But even so, the Demon King was ruthless. He didn't lose a single holy one. However, he never killed them. If a holiness dies, her holy power goes back to the gods, and they just create an enhanced version. The last holy one, Melissa, was pretty damn powerful, and Isaac can't believe she's his ancestor. Rely says, the holiest live with only one goal in mind, to destroy the Demon King. Eshu gives birth to candidates and proudly does the will of the gods. It is our duty, and we have the power to protect the child. One of the Blue Faith Knights agrees with him. He's right. Many holy ones have already become martyrs in battles with the Skeleton King. Isaac says he's never killed a holy one. In fact, one was even banished to the labyrinth once because the Demon King deemed her unworthy to fight him. He says he just let her go, but she had trouble navigating and got lost. Plus, 5 of the saints died of stress-related illnesses. Isaac thinks it's their fault too. They could have just gone to a clinic. Rely replies that he's heard all these stories, but it doesn't matter to him. He's glad Isaac was born, and they have only one wish, that he doesn't grow up to be as bad as the Demon King. Of course, that sounds funny, since the Demon King is the one he's holding in his hands right now. Isaac apologizes to parents he doesn't even know. Alexander offers Rely another thought. It's been 150 years since the Demon King was sealed. Isaac resents it. If it's been so many years, Melissa should be long dead. She was 50 the last time we fought. It turns out that during this time, the demons have only gotten stronger, and having a saint is a huge plus for the Holy Empire. So this boy is important to the Imperial Palace as well. Besides, there is no holiness in the Eshu lineage right now. It's been a year since the last holiness gave birth to a child and disappeared with the father. Isaac is flabbergasted. Wait, so my mother was a saint? Rely confirms this, but adds that the matriarch is still alive and Eshu can protect the child. Isaac is trying to comprehend everything that's going on. Okay, let's just dump all the surprises on me at once, because I'm not going to hear anything cooler than that. But he's wrong. Alexander reports that Melissa is still alive and destroying demons right now. Rely adds that she will be back soon. The matriarch is waiting to meet her grandson. Isaac is dumbfounded. It's over 200 years old. How is she still alive? Rely shrugs his shoulders. This is a peculiarity of the holiest of holies. Alexander warns that Melissa won't be back soon. He notices that the boy is acting strange and asks if he is all right. Rely replies that he's probably fine, but if they found out their worst enemies were still alive, they'd panic too. Isaac realizes If Melissa finds out who he really is, she'll kill him on the spot. Perhaps other people would leave him alone, but not her. She's too dangerous. The baby grasps Alexander's finger, realizing what he must do to survive. He begins to babble, desperately begging to be taken with him. Alexander softens instantly. "You can see for yourself, Relai. He wants to come with me." Relai snorted. "He's just being a clingy ass." Alexander doesn't give up. The Imperial Palace has much more to offer the young lord. At least we can help a little. Relai shakes his head. "We do an excellent job of raising the holiest of holies. We are a generation of the best exorcists." Alexander parries. "But the boy saint appeared for the first time in history. You have no experience in this either." Word after word, and now they're pulling Isaac in different directions, arguing over who gets him. The rest of us, in a panic, "Hey, watch it. You're going to tear him in half." And Isaac only thinks one thing. "Take me to the palace already, just so I don't die." Isaac looks at Alexander and notices a bright light. He realizes that the light is reacting to a survival source, which means that his chances of staying alive next to Alexander are the highest. He can't pass up this opportunity. But suddenly the light gets brighter and brighter, which surprises Isaac, and then he abruptly jumps to another place. Meanwhile, the bishop, shaking with fear, begs for mercy. "I'm innocent. That child used mana. He's definitely a demon spawn." A man in a robe stands in front of him. It appears to be Hari. He says coldly, "Holy power comes from the gods themselves. Are you really saying that the gods gave holy power to a demon?" The bishop, stammering, replies, "But it was definitely mana. How can you confuse the two?" Hari chuckles. "The holy city does not approve of your tone." In the next instant, the blade rips open the bishop's throat. As droplets of blood fly in the air, Hari adds calmly, "It was pure blasphemy." One of his men offers to put the assassination team back together, but Hari shakes his head. "That won't be necessary. The Emperor will want to take the child. We will have ample opportunity at the Imperial Palace." He smirks. He's definitely not going to make it this time. Isaac is sitting by the carriage window, the sun shining brightly on his face, as he absent-mindedly picks at his ears. He's deep in thought, muttering to himself about how he's heading to Eshu, something he never planned to do. If you're wondering why, well, a few days ago, he saw this strange light and couldn't figure out where it came from. Turns out, it wasn't from Alexander like he thought. No, it was from Rai. And Rai's been saying that Yeshua isn't exactly the best place to raise a kid. According to him, it's a place filled with monsters and the corpses of demons. Isaac can't help but wonder if that blinding light he saw was the survival origin shining so intensely. Rai goes on to explain that the most valuable thing they have in Yeshua is the body of the Demon King. The light from it is so bright now that it's hard to even see Rai's face. Isaac is shocked they actually have the Demon King's corpse. He thinks they should have led with that information. As Ri keeps talking, Isaac suddenly grabs his hand, excitedly speaking in babble and giving him a thumbs up. It's obvious Isaac's pumped about going to Yeshua, and Ri looks like he's about to have a heart attack right then and there. Back in the carriage, Isaac reflects on how this feels like he's giving up his life in the palace to join the military. But he knows it's necessary. If he can get his old body back, the one he spent years refining and filling with enough mana to fight gods, then reaching rank 10, will be a piece of cake. This is the first time he's seen the survival origin shine so brightly, and it's clear that following his uncle to Yeshua will give him a huge advantage in surviving whatever's coming. One of the guys with them asks why the Holy Church is still so obsessed with Isaac. Isaac admits he's curious about that Tohi. Is he such a big deal? Rai explains that it's because of a prophecy from the gods. They've declared that the saint will be taken in as the son of a god, which means he's destined to become the next pope. And that's why everyone's after him. The tension is real, and you can feel Isaac's mix of excitement and uncertainty as he heads toward this unpredictable future. What's waiting for him in Yeshua? Will he really get his old body back? And what does it mean to be the chosen one in a world where gods and demons are pulling the strings? Stay tuned, because things are about to get intense. Isaac's mind is racing. Why is House Barrett so desperate? He wonders. Rai breaks it down for him. The Pope isn't just some high-ranking cleric, he's the strongest of them all, wielding rank 10 holy spells. He's practically the king of all clerics and paladins, an absolute being whose power rivals even the Holy Empire's emperor. For thousands of years, House Barrett has been the one to produce the Pope. But now, with the prophecy saying the saint will become the next Pope, House Barrett is freaking out. And it's not just Thievery, other houses scrambling to produce the saint too. The stakes are sky high, and everyone's playing for keeps. Just as Rai finishes explaining, the carriage suddenly jerks to a stop. Everyone's caught off guard. Rai leans out the window, demanding to know what's going on. The driver says they've arrived at the do, but there's a problem. The guards at the gate are refusing them entry. Isaac's confused. What's the deal now? Rai storms over to the gate, furious. Do you not recognize the insignia of House Eswa? He shouts. How do they even educate people around here? The guards laugh, cold and mocking. Of course we're not letting you in, one says. We're here to eliminate that child who inherited the blood of the Saintess. And then, before anyone can react, their bodies start to twist and transform into demons. Isaac's eyes narrow. What the hell is this? He's furious. I put a ban on attacking human territories, he mutters under his breath. Is the new demon king stupid or something? One of the demons sneers. Our glorious king has commanded that all saints and their bloodlines be killed. Isaac can't believe it. The new demon king isn't just stupid, he's dangerously stupid. But then, the demon adds something that makes Isaac's blood run cold. Under the command of the great skeleton king, Lord Isaac, we will kill that saint. Isaac's mind spins. What? I never told them to do this. Before he can process it further, the demons issue an ultimatum. Hand over the child, and we might spare your lives. But before anyone can respond, one of the demons suddenly gets zapped a flash of light, and he turns to ashes on the spot. The remaining demons scream, calling them cowardly paladins. But the tension is thick. Isaac's heart is pounding. What's going on? Who's behind this? And why are they using my name? The situation is spiraling out of control, and Isaac knows one thing for sure. This is just the beginning. Ree steps forward, his blade gleaming as he points it at the demons. You sure do yap a lot for someone standing in front of an exorcist, he says, his voice cold and sharp. And trust me, you won't be dying an easy death. The demons freeze for a moment, but Ree isn't done. Listen closely, he continues. For the sake of protecting all things in this world, Yeshua will destroy all evil. We'll chase you to the very ends of hell if we have to. Behind him, the entire Blue Faith Knights stand ready, their presence overwhelming. Ree's voice grows even fiercer. The Skeleton King is nothing but a coward, forcing his subordinates to their deaths just because he's desperate to escape mortality. Pathetic. The demons snarl, their anger boiling over. How dare you slander our king? One of them shouts, charging forward. Everything we do is for the sake of his revival. We won't tolerate your lies. Chaos erupts. One of the knights grabs Isaac and bolts away from the carriage, apologizing as he runs. Hopefully you'll forgive me for this, the knight mutters. Isaac is too confused to respond. Who's impersonating me? He thinks, his mind racing. And why are demons using my name? They finally reach a safe spot, and the knight sets Isaac down. Wait here, he says. I'll be back shortly. He starts setting up a barrier around Isaac, who watches with interest. The magic is strong, Gavin. A high-ranking demon wouldn't be able to break through it. But there's a catch. Nothing from the outside can get in, and nothing from the inside can get out. Isaac smirks. Well, this works for me, he says. He sits down in the lotus position, ready to unleash his magic. I might as well call you, he mutters, reaching out to something or something that exists between magic and life. He calls out for the observing one. Almost immediately, a presence appears. It's a demon, but not like the ones attacking earlier. This one is different. Isaac quickly covers its mouth. Quiet, he says, a grin spreading across his face. It's been a while, hasn't it? The demon nods, its eyes wide with surprise. We never thought we'd see you in, it says, its voice low and hushed. Isaac chuckles. Yeah, I thought I was done for too. It's been a long time. He pauses, then adds, Whisper, right? My sapient detection magic. I created you because I was too lazy to keep up detection spells in the middle of a fight. And look at you, you gained consciousness. Impressive. Whisper tilts its head, almost like it's amused. What do you need, Master? Isaac's grin widens. Oh, you'll see. Let's just say we've got some demons to deal with and a certain someone impersonating me. Time to clean up this mess. The tension is palpable as Isaac prepares to unleash his full power. With Whisper by his side, things are about to get intense. Stay tuned, because this is just the beginning of the chaos. Isaac can't help but smirk as Whisper floats beside him, looking oddly adorable for a being born out of pure magic. "You're pretty cute, you know that?" Isaac says, half teasing. Whisper just rolls its eyes sore whatever passes for eyes on a sapient detection spell. "Your wickedness is the same as always," Whisper replies, its tone dripping with sarcasm. "And congratulations, by the way, for mercilessly stealing the body of an infant." "Classic you." Isaac shrugs. "What can I say? Desperate times." But then Whisper's tone shifts, a hint of anger creeping in. "Still, I can't believe those dirty divine bastards touched you. Putting you in a disgusting baby's body like this? Unforgivable." Isaac waves a hand, cutting him off. "Enough chit-chat. Go find the enemies. We don't have time for your commentary." Whisper nods, immediately activating its enemy detection magic. A faint aura spreads out, sweeping across the battlefield like an invisible wave. "A 100-meter radius is my current limit," Whisper reports. "There are a total of 88 enemy soul demons. Not that they'll be able to lay a single finger on you, though." Isaac raises an eyebrow. 88? Are they trying to start a war or something? He sighs, running a hand through his hair. "This is going to be troublesome. If security in the territory increases, it'll be harder for me to call my subordinates. At this rate, I have no choice but to deal with them myself before House Eswa notices, even if I have to use all the mana I've accumulated until now." Whisper suddenly perks up. "Enemy count update. 51 now. They're being eliminated quickly." The numbers keep dropping: 31, then 13. It's almost like someone or something is taking them out at an alarming rate. Meanwhile, Ree and the Blue Faith Knights are on high alert. One of the knights rushes to Ree, reporting that something's heading their way. Ree immediately barks orders. "Everyone, defensive formation, now." The remaining demons, now down to just 4, seem relieved. "Our comrades are finally here," one of them shouts. "Now we can work together and kill the saint today." But before they can celebrate, a new figure appears, a shadowy, menacing presence. It's a demon, but unlike the others, this one radiates power. Without warning, it instantly kills the remaining demons, leaving even the Blue Faith Knights stunned. Whisper's voice cuts through the tension. "Enemy forces eliminated." Detecting a shadow lich nearby, the new Damatha shadow lich begins yelling, its voice filled with rage. "How dare you touch our king with your filthy hands? You'll pay for this with your lives." Isaac just stares, completely baffled. "What's with this dude's obsession with me?" he mutters. "I didn't even tell them to do any of this." The shadow lich's eyes lock onto Isaac, and the air grows heavy with menace. "You think you can escape your fate, Skeleton King? You think you can hide in this pathetic form? We'll drag you back to hell ourselves." Isaac sighs, cracking his knuckles. "Great. Just what I needed, another fanatic with a grudge." "Whisper, ready?" Whisper floats closer, its aura flaring. "Always, Master." The battlefield is tense, the stakes higher than ever. Isaac knows one thing for sure: this Shadow Lich isn't going down without a fight. And if it's using his name to cause chaos, he's going to make sure it regrets ever crossing him. Stay tuned, this is about to get explosive. The Shadow Lich's personality shifts dramatically, its voice dripping with a twisted sense of loyalty. "My king, my one and only master." It croons, its tone almost reverent. "You who freed me are now trapped in the body of a lowly infant. How dare they lay their filthy eyes on you? I'll rip their eyeballs out for even looking in your direction." One of the Blue Faith Knights turns to Ree, clearly unnerved. "What the hell is it saying?" he asks. But to the humans, the Shadow Lich's words are nothing but gibberish, chaotic, otherworldly language they can't comprehend. Isaac, however, understands every word. "Great," he thinks. "This guy knows I'm the Demon King. And judging by the way he's acting, some of my old followers must have followed me here." He grits his teeth, realizing the situation is spiraling out of control. Ree, oblivious to the Shadow Lich's ramblings, raises his sword and shouts, "Prepare for battle." The Blue Faith Knights charge forward, ready to strike. But Isaac isn't having it. "Stop messing with my food," he yells, his voice cutting through the chaos. "That's my highly concentrated mana source you're about to waste." One of the knights glances back, trying to reassure him. "Be patient, kid. We'll handle this quickly. The shadow lich, meanwhile, is practically glowing with pride. Master has recognized me. It cackles, its voice filled with glee. He's acknowledged me. It flies directly overhead, heading straight for Isaac. I'll go to my master's side. Ree's eyes widen in shock. It's heading straight for the barrier, he shouts, realizing too late what's happening. The shadow lich reaches the barrier and sneers at the knights. Filthy paladins! How dare you trap my master in such a dirty bubble? With a single swipe of its clawed hand, it shatters the barrier from above, just as Isaac commanded. Rai and the other knights freeze, panic setting in. But Isaac? He's smiling. Good job, he says, reaching out to grab the shadow lich's hand. But now you need to stop making a mess of things and rest. The shadow lich tilts its head, confused. Rest? But, Master, Before it can finish, its form begins to dissolve, shrinking and shrinking, until it's nothing more than a wisp of dark energy. Isaac watches as the shadow lich's existence fades away, absorbed back into the ether. Ree and the knights are stunned. Their weapons still raised, but their confidence shaken. What just happened? One of them mutters. Isaac brushes off his hands, looking entirely too calm for someone who just dealt with a shadow lich. Don't worry about it, he says casually. Just a little cleanup. Now, about that mana source. The knights exchange uneasy glances, but Isaac's already moving, his mind focused on the next step. The shadow lich may be gone, but the chaos it caused is far from over. And Isaac knows one thing for sure. This is just the beginning of the mess he'll have to clean up. The shadow lich's form shrinks and shrinks, collapsing back into the very hand Isaac had originally freed it from. Its final words echo faintly, filled with confusion and desperation. Why, Master? And then it's gone. Ree stares, completely stunned. Did you just totemize a demon? Like it was nothing? His voice is a mix of awe and suspicion. The other knight, meanwhile, is practically bouncing with excitement. That was insane. Totemizing a demon in an instant? That's something only the saints or cardinals are supposed to be capable of. He pauses, then adds, Wait. That wasn't holy art, was it? That was magic? Ree narrows his eyes, his suspicion growing. It certainly looked like a holy art, but I didn't sense any holy power from it. Not a trace. The other knight shrugs, trying to rationalize it. You know how it is people shine the brightest when they're in danger? That thing went straight for him, so maybe he instinctively felt like a threat to its existence. The young master's got something special, I'm telling you. He has to be the saint. Ree isn't convinced. Even if he's not the saint, this child is definitely unique. He frowns, muttering to himself. But why did he have to be a boy? He starts to explain something about a curse the Skeleton King placed on them. But the other knight cuts him off. Enough about curses, the knight says firmly. As the commander of the Blue Knights, I've already decided. I'll protect the young lord. He's the future of our house. Ree's expression softens as if a weight has been lifted. You're right, he says, a small smile forming. I was foolish to be so afraid of the Skeleton King's curse. This child, he's going to elevate the Yeshua name. I can feel it. He walks over to Isaac and picks him up, holding him gently. It's time to go home, Rai says, his voice filled with determination. As your uncle, I'll teach you many things. You have great potential, and I'll raise you into a fine paladin. Isaac, of course, couldn't care less about becoming a paladin. All he wants is his old body back. Just hand it over when we get home, he thinks, annoyed. But he keeps his thoughts to himself, knowing it's not the time to argue. Ree continues, his tone softer now. Even if your life is short, I'll find a way to save you. I promise. Isaac sighs internally. Great. Another overprotective adult, making promises they can't keep. But as they start moving, he can't help but feel a tiny flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this whole mess will work out in his favor. The group begins their journey back to Yeshua, the tension slowly easing. Golden statues everywhere, a giant gazebo, the whole place luxury. Isaac shocked, saying, You guys are living it up while fighting demons? How much did all this even cost? He remembers how the kingdom always claimed to be broke, with people starving and struggling. Even Whisper chimes in, saying, This is night and day compared to our crappy castle. Selling one of these statues could probably buy us 10 new ones. Isaac nods, telling Whisper to chill, but he's clearly annoyed. Riley picks Isaac up, showing him around like a proud tour guide. This is the Eshu mansion, he says. The birthplace of exorcism on the continent. He points out the window, and Isaac sees a group of kids beating up a scarecrow, pretending it's the Skeleton King. At first, it's just 3 guys, but then more people run over, joining in, absolutely destroying this scarecrow. They're yelling stuff like, "This is too nice for someone as evil as the Skeleton King." Isaac's just standing there thinking, asterisk, what are they teaching these kids? This is like some fanatic cult. Asterisk. But then he shrugs it off. He's joined the Holy Empire now, and his plan is simple. Turn the Emperor into his puppet, and rename the whole thing the Isaac Empire. Whisper rolls his eyes, calling him petty. Even as the mighty Skeleton King, you're still holding a grudge, really? Isaac smirks. Oh, just wait. They'll see. Isaac's feelings are hurt by the children's teasing. He tries to brush it off, but it's clear he's upset. Whisper tells him to shut up and keep scouting, and Isaac reluctantly obeys, muttering under his breath as he continues. As they move through the mansion, Isaac can't help but be amazed by the strange blue lights everywhere. He turns to Whisper, asking if all of them are Monar. Whisper confirms it, saying there are over 10,000 of them. Isaac's eyes widen. He's never seen so many in one place. He starts to wonder just how many demons these lights have killed. The carriage finally comes to a stop, and Riley announces they've arrived. He steps out, casually instructing the staff to rearrange his room because Isaac will be staying with him. But before Isaac can even process that, the staff apologizes and informs him that they've been ordered to escort him to the annex instead. Riley is immediately suspicious and asks why. The butler explains that the 5th young master has ordered Isaac to never enter the main building. Isaac is confused. Why would they send him to some annex when he was invited here? Riley's frustration grows as he questions whether they're really trying to send Isaac to a place where people could die. Isaac, piecing things together, realizes that this whole invitation might have been a setup from the start. He mutters that he should have seen it coming. This family has a history of strange behavior, like leaving an infant outside their gates. It was all just for show. Riley sighs, saying it looks like his brother is up to his usual pointless antics. Isaac, still trying to make sense of it all, asks why he'd be sent to the annex when he could be living in the fancy mansion. Whisper chimes in, revealing that the Monar are actually concentrated in the annex. That catches Isaac's attention. Riley, playing the role of the concerned uncle, insists that he won't let his nephew stay in what he calls a ghost house. But Isaac is already intrigued. He starts speaking in Babel, a language Riley doesn't understand, which only adds to the tension. Riley tries to convince him to stay in his room, promising to read him holy scriptures every night about the saintess battling the Skeleton King. Isaac flat out refuses, joking that at this point, Riley might as well just exorcise him. Just as the argument heats up, someone new arrives. They stop in front of Riley, clearly annoyed. "First, you pick up that dirty vermin," they say, glaring at Isaac, "and now you're causing a scene. I ordered that kid to be sent to the annex. You show your face after so long, and the first thing you do is defy me?" The tension in the air is thick. Isaac can feel the hostility, but he's not backing down. Whatever's waiting for him in the annex, he's ready to face even if it means dealing with more than just a few ghosts. Isaac's older brother steps forward, and we're introduced to the 5th son of the Ashwa family, Goel Ashwa. Isaac can't help but stare at him, thinking to himself, I can't believe this guy is such a jerk. Goel doesn't waste any time. He looks at Riley and says, "Go ahead and put that down," referring to Isaac like he's some kind of object. He insists that Isaac belongs in the annex, and his tone makes it clear he's not asking for opinions. Riley isn't having it. He steps in, defending Isaac. "Are you serious? This child is part of the direct line of House Ashwa. Why are you sending him to the annex, a place meant for banishment? Even Isaac can see, you just don't want him in the main house." Riley's voice is firm, but Goel doesn't flinch. Goel smirks, poking Isaac's cheeks like he's some kind of stray animal. "You've dragged in something even dirtier than the Skeleton King," he says, laughing. "For some reason, you're obsessed with direct lineage, aren't you?" Isaac doesn't react much, but inside he's calculating. He likes that Goel wants him in the annex, but he's not sure if this guy is just a straight-up thug or if there's more to it. Riley isn't fooled either. He calls Goel out, saying, You're not fooling anyone. You want to paint him as a cursed child and push him out of the succession race. That catches Isaac off guard. Succession race? He hadn't thought about that. But now that it's out there, he realizes how much is at stake. He needs to drain this house for all it's worth, become the saint, and eventually rise to the position of pope. It's the only way he can get his revenge against the gods who wronged him. Goal, however, brushes off Riley's accusations. Push him out? Demons already appeared to capture him. That alone proves he's cursed. But before Isaac can respond, the knight from earlier steps in. That's not true, the knight says firmly. He exorcised those demons. The fact that they were after him only proves how important he is. Another voice chimes in agreeing. He has the power of the holy saint. That's undeniable. Goal just smirks again, clearly unimpressed. How heartwarming, he says sarcastically. But Isaac can see the gears turning in Goal's head. This isn't over, not by a long shot. The tension between them is palpable, and Isaac knows one thing for sure. He's not going to let anyone, not even his own family, stand in the way of his goals. Goal sneers, clearly enjoying the chaos he's causing. If you're all so eager to defend this disgusting trash, he says, gesturing at Isaac, then prove it. If he's really a saint, let's see him show his skills. Whisper, ever the instigator, chimes in with a sarcastic suggestion. Why don't you just summon a meteor on this guy? Isaac quickly tells him to shut up, but the tension is already rising. Goal's eyes light up with an idea. He points to a nearby tree. Its once majestic form now withered and lifeless. That tree, he says, is the symbol of our house. It's a divine tree, cherished by the head of the family. But it died after being corrupted by demonic essence. If you're truly a saint candidate, reviving it should be easy for you. He starts laughing, clearly not expecting Isaac to succeed. That is, if you're really as special as they say. Riley looks at Goel, shocked. Are you serious? That tree hasn't been saved in over 70 years, even with the most powerful healing and purification arts. And now you're asking a child who barely understands what's happening to do it? But Isaac isn't paying attention to their argument. He's too busy thinking. Melissa fought so hard, but her bloodline is a mess. Her eldest is missing, and her fifth son is, well, a total jerk. Then it hits him. Something about this tree isn't right. Isaac grabs Whisper by the back of his head, shaking him. Do you not see it? He asks, his voice low. Without waiting for an answer, he throws Whisper toward the tree, telling him to go grab whatever's there. While Riley and Goel are still arguing, Isaac focuses on the tree. He doesn't know anything about holy arts or purification, but he does know one thing. There's a ton of demonic residue in the roots, and if there's one thing Whisper loves, it's eating demonic energy. As Riley and Goal continue their heated debate, they suddenly stop mid-sentence. Both of them turn, completely stunned. The divine tree, once dead and lifeless, is now glowing with vibrant energy, its leaves shimmering as if it's been brought back to its glory days. Riley can't believe his eyes. It looks like the divine tree is alive again, he says, his voice filled with awe. Goal is speechless. That tree couldn't be saved, even with the most powerful holy arts. How did he? But Isaac isn't paying attention. He's just standing there, looking completely clueless. Of course, he didn't use any holy art, she just had Whisper eat all the demonic residue in the roots. Simple as that. One of the knights turns to Riley, clearly shocked. How did the tree come back to life? Did you do something? Riley shakes his head. I didn't do anything. The knight's eyes widen. Then, does that mean? He doesn't finish the sentence, but the implication is clear. Isaac, the so-called cursed child, just did the impossible. Goal's smirk is gone, replaced by a look of disbelief. Isaac, meanwhile, is already thinking ahead. If they think I'm a saint now, maybe I can use this to my advantage. He doesn't know what's coming next. But one thing's for sure. He's not going to let anyone, not even his own family, underestimate him again. Riley's older brother, Goal, looks nothing like Melissa, their mother. But Riley? He's practically her twin, just in men's clothing. Isaac can't help but notice the stark difference. Is this some kind of stray cat situation? He wonders. Whisper chimes in, suggesting they might be half-brothers. Isaac nods, muttering. I was wondering because Goal looks a lot like the Pope. But Riley? Definitely Melissa's kid. Meanwhile, Goal is still throwing a tantrum, screaming at Riley. Stop hiding it. I know you brought this trash here to push him as the saint candidate. You're scheming, even though the house has already won. Isaac perks up at that. Another candidate? He's intrigued. Who's this thug trying to push as his pick? He asks, half to himself. Whisper laughs, teasing him. You look way too relaxed for someone who's competing for a position like this. Isaac shrugs. Do you really think the other candidate stands a chance when they're being backed by an idiot like Goal? Whisper thinks about it for a second. Yeah, fair point. Riley finally speaks up, his voice calm but firm. Are you seriously telling me to abandon this child? He's our nephew, the son of our oldest brother. Are you really that heartless? Goal doesn't back down. Heartless? I'm being practical. This house doesn't need another liability. Isaac, meanwhile, is just standing there, watching the chaos unfold. He's not even trying to defend himself anymore. Goal laughs, saying their eldest brother is a deserter. He ran away when the house was in danger, fell in love with trash, and disappeared. Isaac smirks. So that's why I'm treated like a bastard? Interesting. Whisper looks confused. How can he talk about his own situation so casually? Goal grins. Well, that kid is still the son of Saintus, even if he's just a half-breed mutt. But honestly, I'm not even sure if he's really my blood. Sure, he looks a bit like her. But if she really wants to help the house, she should. Before he can finish, wham! Riley punches him right in the face. Goel stumbles back, clutching his nose. Did you just hit me? He screams. Riley cracks his knuckles. Did you really think you'd get away with saying all that? Isaac watches, amused. Brothers grow by fighting, right? He shrugs. Besides, I just learned a lot of useful information. Then, without warning, he starts beating the absolute hell out of Goel. Goal's knights rush in, trying to stop him. Isaac grins, his voice calm but dangerous. Good thing this family isn't so tight-knit. He wipes the blood off his knuckles. Because I'm about to tear it all apart. Whisper watches, wondering how a demon like this even got reincarnated. Isaac, completely unfazed, just shrugs. Logically speaking, if the house falls to ruin, that means I go down with it. Sometime later, in a different part of the estate, Isaac sighs, stretching. I'm going to bed, he grumbles, clearly annoyed. But instead of a bed, he flops down on a ridiculously long table. Meanwhile, the people around him are deep in debate. What even is that boy? One of them scoffs. Isaac sits up, rubbing his temples. Not a single person in this house has a sane mind. The room erupts in chatter. Some complain that he's just a useless male. Others are shocked he's not another STIs. Isaac groans. Can you at least argue one at a time? Ever since I got here, all I've been getting is scolding. A woman finally speaks up, silencing the room. She turns to Riley. The Branch family has offered to take him in and raise him. This is our introduction to Hannah Yeshua, the second wife of Eli Yeshua and the acting head of the house. She looks at Isaac, her expression cold. Why was he brought to the main family's estate? Isaac smirks. Not even trying to hide your disgust, huh? Isaac glances at the woman. So, she's the one who wanted to send me to the annex. Figures. Goal smirks at Riley. My mother just asked you a question. Why aren't you answering? Isaac chuckles. Makes sense that she's your mother. Then he looks at Riley. So, has your father stepped down? Hannah responds before Riley can. He stepped out for a bit. Things have been noisy with all the talk about saint candidates. Riley sighs. That's a shame. I needed to deliver some important news. He pauses, letting the tension build. The eldest grandson of Yeshua, Isaac, has revived the divine tree. The room falls silent. Everyone stares in shock. Goal scoffs. Must have been a coincidence. How could an infant do something like that? An elder nods in agreement. Exactly. A mere child fixing a problem we've had for 70 years. Impossible. Hannah laughs. I couldn't have said it better myself. And most importantly, there's no proof. Some in the room start murmuring, saying that regardless, the revival of the tree is a great blessing. Isaac watches them, unimpressed. These people, sure, are obvious. Then, without a word, he raises his hands. You want proof? He says, a smirk playing on his lips. Everyone turns toward Haime's Whitey as something begins swirling in his palms. A swirling aura forms in Isaac's hands. "Take a closer look," he says, his smirk growing. Some of the elders step forward, their eyes widening in disbelief. "It's the energy of the divine tree," one of them murmurs. Isaac just leans back, smug. Riley steps in. It seems that Isaac removed the mana that was gnawing away at the divine tree. A stunned silence fills the room. They knew something was corrupting the tree. But how? How was a newborn the one to deal with it? Some start whispering, debating how this could even be possible. The exorcism art needed to cleanse the tree isn't easy. One elder mutters, "One mistake, and the tree could have died." That's exactly why the head of the house relied on purification instead of an exorcist. Another adds. Goel clenches his fists. There's no way that bastard has that much power." Riley doesn't even acknowledge him. He continues, his voice steady. "Isaac didn't just cleanse the tree. He followed its very essence, exorcising the corrupt mana completely." Isaac stays silent, still looking far too pleased with himself. "And let's not forget," Riley adds, turning to the stunned crowd. "This infant just did in mere moments what no one in the House of Yeshua has managed in 70 years. Goel scoffs. "You're out of your mind." He slams his fist on the table. "You expect us to believe this nonsense? How could a baby who hasn't even spoken his first words perform exorcism arts?" The room murmurs in agreement. "If we allow such ridiculous stories to spread, the world will mock us." Goel continues. "Look at him. He looks nothing like his eldest brother. I bet he has no Yeshua blood at all. Probably the son of some beggar off the streets." Riley doesn't even flinch. "Elders, hear my words," he declares. "This child will one day become a saint. Nohe may very well become the pope." Isaac watches, amused. "Gotta hand it to my uncle, he's really selling this." Then, without warning, Riley lifts Isaac into the air like a trophy. "And he will be the one to kill the skeleton king." Isaac freezes. "Okay. I take back everything I just said about this guy." The room falls silent for a moment before erupting in shocked whispers. Hannah, watching the chaos unfold, just laughs. "You're digging your own grave," she muses. Hannah smirks. "If you're so confident in the boy, let's put him to the test." She leans forward. "I'll request access to the treasury of holy artifacts to prove his worth." The scene shifts. Northwest of the Holy Empire of Hela, deep within the Black Forest. A monstrous creature collapses, its head severed cleanly. The ground is littered with corpses, dozens of beasts, slain without mercy. A man stands among them, wiping blood off his blade. He exhales sharply. "What a damn waste of time." A figure clad in blue robes approaches, bowing slightly. "Lord of the house," he says, addressing the man. Eli Yeshua barely spares him a glance. "What is it?" "The deputy head has requested permission to access the treasury of holy artifacts." Eli scoffs. "I've already said the Holy Church has no access to it." The knight quickly clarifies. "It's not for the church. The request is regarding your grandchild." Eli pauses. "Your grandson saved the divine tree." The deputy head seeks to confirm whether the boy is truly a saint. A cold silence lingers between them. Eli narrows his eyes. "And what exactly does that mean? Why is there talk of a saint in my house?" This is Eli Yeshua, the true head of the family. His voice hardens. "I refuse. That place will kill anyone who isn't a true saint candidate. No exceptions." Then, a voice is soft, yet firm cuts through the air. "Let him do it." A woman steps forward, her presence commanding attention. Her gaze is sharp, thoughtful. "His name was Isaac, wasn't it?" she muses. "This is our first glimpse of Melissa." She smiles slightly. "To think, he actually saved the divine tree. How interesting." Melissa's smile widens. "Promising." She crosses her arms, thinking. "If we're opening the treasury, we should send all of the saint candidates in." The knight hesitates. "But if we do that, a child from another house might take the greatest artifact for themselves." Melissa just laughs. "I'd prefer that." The knight looks confused, but she continues. "Even the greatest saintess in history couldn't claim that artifact. But with it, we could track down the skeleton king and finally kill it." Her eyes gleam with excitement. "In fact, we should reward whoever brings it back." She turns to the knight. Go, spread the word. Her voice carries authority, making it clear this isn't a suggestion. We will grant the child, who retrieves the greatest artifact, a reward even the Pope himself couldn't provide. The knight listens intently as Melissa lays it out. Not only will they receive the sauce heirloom, passed down through House Yeshua for generations. She pauses, her expression turning serious. I will personally teach them the secret techniques of our lineage, and I will give them everything, every last treasure in my possession. She looks genuinely excited about it. After all, the treasury of holy artifacts wasn't just a collection of ancient relics. It was a vault of power, safeguarded for thousands of years. And House Yeshua? They were its rightful keepers. Only children under the age of 10 could enter. That's why the first birthday ritual for the Saints was always held there. And now, it was time to test Isaac. The candidate's abilities would be judged by the artifact they managed to retrieve from the treasury. Some would return with legendary weapons, others with divine relics, but many would not return at all. Even saint candidates could die in there. After years of tragedy and disappearances, the treasury was finally sealed. The scene shifts back. Whisper sighs. I really wonder if I'll be able to grab the Saintess's treasure and make it out alive. Isaac raises an eyebrow. Why are you giving me the lore dump? Whisper smirks. You don't seem that excited about it. Isaac stretches, looking amused. Oh, I am. His eyes glint. After all, this body was practically made for the treasury. He starts laughing. Before he can say anything else, the knight from before lifts him out of his cradle. Excited, little one? The knight chuckles. The matriarch has opened the treasury to all saint candidates. Isaac listens, intrigued. The children of all 5 great houses will gather soon, the knight continues. Even the house of that despicable pope will be sending their heirs. He smirks. But I have no doubt you will be the one to win. Whisper exhales. Yeah, no pressure or anything. This is turning out to be bigger than we expected, Whisper mutters. Isaac just grins. That's even better. Whisper gives him a look. How exactly? Isaac leans back. If multiple children enter the treasury, the onlookers will have to split their attention. No one will be watching, just me. His grin widens. That means I'll have a much easier time retrieving my body. Before he can say anything else, Riley catches him midair, holding him securely. You need to be careful, Riley warns. The treasury is guarded by demons, the ones captured in past wars. Isaac raises an eyebrow. So that's why it's so dangerous inside. He thinks for a moment, then shrugs. Still, if they were captured, that means they're rank 6 or lower. As long as I intimidate them, it should be easy.